Man, screw Dark Souls. One week I'm riding high on dopamine, and the next I'm just depressed and dying figuratively and literally in this game. And I don't know how much longer I can take this.
Hit you.
Welcome back to another Dark Souls journal where I journey my first playthrough of Dark Souls in these very sad and depressing journals. And now the trend is, as we are number 4, the trend is 1 week, oh my god, this is so fun and exciting. And the next week is, why did I pledge this? What am I doing with my existence of playing such a hard and unforgiving game? I'm going to be honest with all of you. The Monster Hunter story was a very beautiful story. Man hates game, man discovers community, man discovers game, and falls further in love. It's a beautiful story of me falling in love with something I didn't know I loved. I was expecting that with Dark Souls, but this is an abusive, toxic relationship that is just not healthy for me. So there was, the first stream was like, oh, I'm discovering nice things. This is like, I get it. I'm getting like these dopamine hits. But after this past week and experiencing it, this darkness with the Capra Demon like 2 weeks ago, it's just soul draining. Like sometimes I literally feel like giving up. Like I am committed to my 4-hour stream slot, and I have to admit sometimes I do not want to play the game anymore because it is that frustrating. And I don't understand, because when I went into this, a lot of people said if you're in general, the general consensus was the hardest parts of Monster Hunter are harder than Dark Souls, I think is what it was. And people are like, oh, you killed like Alatreon, Dark Souls should be easy. I respectfully disagree. I think Dark Souls as a whole is more difficult and more painstaking to go through than Monster Hunter. At no point in Monster Hunter was I really super frustrated and was like, this game is crushing me. Dark Souls is crushing me. I'm struggling. I'm in a phase of struggle right now. Last time we did a journal, I was in a phase of ecstasy because I felt progress, and progress was made, and I actually like made it through Blight Town in a pretty reasonable time frame with a reasonable amount of deaths. This past week, I felt like I made no progress. Last week we left on the high note of, oh, I got this whole lava like demon land to discover. What's beyond the gate and what's in the forest? Turns out it's just death, death, death. Literally an army of Capra Demon over there. The forest has more of those butt whipping trees. And what was in the freaking funhouse, Sen's funhouse. We're gonna talk about that. So everywhere I went, I just got like punched, and it's not even like, they're not even laughing at me. It's literally, what are you doing here? You fool. I will beat you down. Don't you dare come back. And now I'm like, I have to go there, sir. The game, my pledge is to get to the credits. I have to go through this area. And it's so punishing. That said, I literally didn't feel like I made any progress because I got denied out of all 3 of those regions. But as I made my notes and I watched back the stream, I've like wrote down a lot of things. I was like, you know what? I actually saw quite a few things. So maybe I made more progress than I realized. It just doesn't feel like progress because this place is so depressing. So hey, welcome to Dark Souls. All right, so last time we killed the Ceaseless Discharge. Terrible name. So I go down, I'm like, oh, cool. What's in this land of fire? And people are like, you see those demons over there? I'm like, yeah. They're like, those are the first boss times 6. I was like, we're not going there. So I go over and I see a shiny. I'm like, oh, a shiny. And then out of the corner, Capra Demon shows up. I was like, what the hell is he doing here again? At first it was what the hell, but then the second was like, oh, big open area. He doesn't have his dogs. I'm like, that means Capra Demon's easy. So after walking back from the fire, from the bonfire after he killed me a few times, I learned that no, I don't have the stairs either to cheese him. So now I actually have to learn how to fight him. So the first half hour is like, damn you, Capra Demon, I'm going to get through here. You're not going to hold me back. And after the Capra Demon is slayed, I'm like, finally, I can progress in here. And then the game's like 6 Capra Demons all at once. And I'm just like, are you bleeping kidding me? Are you kidding me? It's literally, okay, like let's say if I was actually doing this all in like one chunk, like this past part, it's go through Blight Town. Okay, it's like I've suffered through Blight Town. kill the naked spider. It's like, okay, I've killed the naked spider. Now you've got ceaseless discharge, which if you don't find the cheese, it can be intimidating. But anyways, you kill the ceaseless discharge and they're like, okay, now a capper demon. You're like, oh, this guy again. And then they're like, now 6 capper demon. And who knows, for all I know, beyond those 6 capper demons, it's probably 100 capper demons that you have to like run around in a circle and do like some special dance to like make them spontaneously combust. I don't know. But anyways, I hauled myself out of there because I'm not playing. So I made it up back through Blighttown, but I found like another like little shortcut to connect things. And we ended up in a lovely place called Valley of the Drake. Now this place felt fantastic because I saw the sky, and that was refreshing because for the past 2 weeks, all I've been doing is going more and more into darkness and depression. So now I could like at least be in the open air of depression. I was sure I was going to get fried by a dragon flying overhead. Luckily that didn't happen. So we wandered a bit around. And then I took an elevator, ended up in, I believe it was New Londo Ruins, which was no, that's not where we went. Maybe it was where we went. Yes, it is. And I was like, this place is so uninviting. I don't even want to know what's in there. We had 3 areas to explore this time: the demon ruins, the forest, and the beyond the gate. So I'm like, I already know what's in the forest. I've definitely not going through the demon ruins right now. So let's go see what's behind this wonderful gate. So I made my way back to the elevator and arrived at the Firelink shrine, where chat was having a good time because now they're all laughing because apparently my actions earlier in the game led to a series of events which has killed my firekeeper, which I didn't even know there was a keeper to this bonfire. It's literally a bonfire like everything else. But now my bonfire is out. I can't save. I can't use it. Everybody's dead here. And they're like, you shouldn't have killed the parry dude at the beginning. And I'm just like, how did these consequences of these actions I had no idea would do things, and apparently I let another guy live, and now my firekeeper's dead, but more importantly I've lost the save point. And I'm just like, why is this game such an a-hole? Like if you could personify Dark Souls, it's an a-hole. It's just a big dick of a game. So I don't have my Firelink shrine anymore. Made me really sad. So I'm like, well, I guess we're gonna go see the smithy, and that's gonna be our new home. We're gonna save there. Because that gives us access to the forest, gives us access to what I've learned is Sen's Fortress, which, But before we got there, there's this like weird creature now at the Firelink shrine that popped up, which I was sure he was going to eat me. Turns out he's actually like a friend. He kind of reminds me of the dog from the Never-Ending Story, but like more Dark Souls-y. So anyway, I made a new buddy. He gave me a bunch of story tips, which went way over my head. I just learned I am the chosen undead. I have to kill the great Lord Gwyn, and I have to acquire a Lord vessel and a Nora Londo. All these words mean nothing to me. So all I know is that I rang some bells and I lost my Firelink shrine, and then these doors open to Sen's Fortress. So I'm like, all right, let's go see Sen's Fortress. I've got a save point right outside. This seems nice. So I walk in and there's a booby trap, and my weird positioning got the arrows go next to me. So I'm like, haha, outsmarted the first trap. And then some big snake men came out and killed me. So I was like, all right, I can do it. I can deal with this. New enemy, let's figure it out. So I found out you can dispatch one of them by luring them towards you, stepping on the booby trap, and you kill them from behind. So that's one dead. And then the other guy, you just got to learn how to like, get around him and kill. So then we go further in, and I'm seeing like axes do this. And I was like, oh, 3D platforming, pish poff. I can do this. I am a 3D platforming veteran. I'm not worried. So I do that. I'm rolling around things. Things are going well. I'm seeing like big boulders coming down. I was like, this is all timing. I'm okay with this. So I was dying here and there, but overall the difficulty was like, it was okay. It felt very similar to Blighttown dialed up a little bit, where it's like, okay, I have to learn the sections. There's enemies, there's traps, and it's all about timing. Now, around the time I gave up is when I saw a chest, and I was like looking everywhere around because this place is filled with booby traps. Like I'm getting shot at from all these holes in the wall. So I see a chest and I'm like, okay, where's the booby trap? There's clearly a booby trap. And like, I'm going on and on about how something bad's going to happen. And I'm looking like at the floor, at the walls. I'm like, okay, there's nothing. I go to open the chest, and it's one of those hidden chests. There's a name for it. I forget what it's called, but it's a chest with teeth, and it eats me and kills me. And I was like, so mad that I knew it was bad, but I could not have predicted the chest would have eaten me. So that's when I was like, screw Sen's fortress, or as people like to call it, the fun house. But honestly, thinking back on it, I'm like, I just need a little bit more patience, and I think I can take over it the same way I did Blight Town. It's just you have harder enemies, and now you have a lot more 3D platforming mechanics. But and there's more troll. There's more troll to it. So as long as you get through all the trolls, it eventually gets easier, I hope. So from there, I'm like, let's just go back to the fortress and take our time. Last time I was panicking and running around in there naked, not knowing what I was doing. This time, I'm like, let's just hug a wall and see what happens. Let's hug the other wall and see what happens. So we hugged the wall, and I went back to see the cat. And the cat was like, are you a grave robber? And for some reason, I didn't quite understand how he worded the question. So I'm like, yeah, of course I'm going to rob some graves. I'm going to put whatever I can on me to make this game easier. And he's like, I disown you. And then the cat got mad at me. So I'm like, well, lost a friend. Then I found a door, and through that door, I found my first boss of the night, which was the Great Grey Wolf Sif. And I was so excited to finally fight a boss. It's not the bosses. Like, I got into this game to fight the bosses. After Monster Hunter, I want to fight bosses. And honestly, it's the getting to the bosses which I'm finding very hard, because I keep dying to dumb things, and it's just so unforgiving. So finally, I'm like, all right, let's do this. Time to fight a wolf. So he grabs the sword, and he looks like the Pokemon sword guy, and he's like swinging it, and I'm rolling into it. And at this point, I've been using evade extender in Monster Hunter, and I'm like, this is like super evade extender. No, not extender. Evade window. This is like a super evade window, because I can just roll right through the sword, and I'm like timing it. And he's like, I'm like, time to roll through the sword. And he swings, I go through the sword, and then whack, whack. And on my first attempt, I got him down to maybe he had like 15-20% of his health left. And then I died, and then I struggled a lot for some reason. The timing just wasn't working. And then like I went like, I don't know, into like Hey J Instinct, and we finally killed it, and I got a cool ring. I forgot what the ring does. But boss down, I was like, yeah, and I looked at the chat, and they're like, you evil man. You killed a puppy. And I've never felt so bad. Nobody was cheering for me. They're just like, how dare you, sir? You killed a very honorable and loyal sir. I was like, but you had a boss health bar. Like, and we got a boss counter. I got to kill the bosses. So it sounded like he was an optional boss that I didn't need to kill, but he's dead now. So then from there, I went the other way into the forest, and I found a tower with a beautiful butterfly on it. And so I was like, oh, great. We found another boss, like, bam, just like that. And that was the Moonlight Butterfly. So he killed me on the first time because I'm like on a bridge. I don't know where to go. And then I'm like, so I panicked and I died. So then I went again, and I just started rolling like through his things. I was like, how do I hit that? It's always flying away. And so I'm just kind of like dodging, trying to figure out like how to hit it. Maybe there's like a really weird hitbox. I just try to swing, nothing's happening. And then out of nowhere, the butterfly just like drops its head right next to me, and I'm just like, what? And I just start swinging at it, and I like take half its health out, and then it flies back and starts shooting things at me. And it just like, and then I'm like, is this all there is to the fight? And everyone was saying how this is probably the easiest boss battle in the game, and I was like, this is so refreshing after the load and thickness of bullshit I've been through, to have a boss just being like, kill me, sir. It felt so refreshing, and I like, that was a moral boost. I needed the butterfly to lift my spirits up. So anyways, the Moonlight Butterfly is dead, so that makes 2 bosses off the list. Even though I didn't pledge to kill all the bosses, I'm counting them down anyways. I think from that, I got a key to go to the basement in the Undead Burg. So back we went into familiar territory, and I'm just like trashing everything now that I'm a little bit stronger in this area. Really feels good. It's like being in like high school and you go back to grade 1 and you're like, I know how to do everything. So from there, I went down, and there was like a dude with a really big hammer, and I'm like, okay, this is like a mini boss. I like mini bosses in Dark Souls. They're fun. He's like slow, sluggish, hits hard. So I was all about roll around him, get him in the back, and he died pretty quick. He was a fun fight. And then I unlocked a shortcut to, I believe it was to the forest. I'm like, oh, we're back here again. It all just interconnects. It's all the same thing. So from there, I kept exploring from this new angle of the forest. We ended up back in the Valley of the Drake. So I'm like, ugh, we're back here. People convinced me to fight like 6 drakes for nothing, because it just leads to a door that's a dead end. So then I hug a wall, and there's like a massive like dragon there who's like protecting his treasure. And if you go near, he just pukes everywhere. So I'm like, I'm not messing with this. I'm too far from a bonfire to mess with this. So I just kind of like tiptoed around and ended up right back to the beginning of where we started the stream. I'm just like, well, this feels completely useless. We're right back at the beginning. Made it back into New Londo Ruins using the same elevator. And at this point, I was like so morally hollow. Oh, is that why they call it hollow? Because it does that to you as a player too. I'm just walking around talking to chat, and this is why you shouldn't don't game chat and chat. Don't game and chat because you won't be paying attention to the game. I'm just walking around like I'm gonna go back to the elevator and save, and I didn't realize the elevator wasn't there, and I just walked into a pit. I just walked into the pit, and I died, and that was pretty much. I looked at the time. I'm like, I've been at this for over 3 hours, almost 4 hours. I'm done. I'm just done. And now what do I have to look forward to? I have Sense Funhouse to look forward to. The forest is pretty much conquered, and it didn't give me anything. Even the boss fight didn't feel great because the chat's all like, you killed a poor puppy. And we've got 6 Capra Demon waiting for us in the demon pit. So like my options are now 6 Capra Demons or Sense Funhouse. And like between the two, I'm going to pick Sense Funhouse, but it's like, oh man, there better be some good stuff beyond this. Like, when do I get the super armor or the super sword that lets me... I know there is no such thing. I know the game is hard all the way through, but like, oh man, I just want to cry sometimes. This game is hard. It's just hard. So that's where I'm at today. We've got a lot of work to do this on this next stream. So I'll see you then or on my next journal. And until next time, everyone, just keep it classy.